And welcome back to the show. Governor Andrew Cuomo announced applications are open for the $800 million COVID-19 pandemic small business recovery grant program. Now, more than 330,000 small and micro businesses are potentially eligible for the program, including 57% of the state's certified MWBEs. Now, the application site for the program will be powered by Lendistry, a minority-led community development financial institution. And here to share a little bit more about the grant and the availability is the CEO of Lendistry, Everett Sands. And Everett, glad to have you here on Open.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Appreciate it. Thank you, Daren.
Yeah. Looks like you'll be navigating some precious help for a lot of our businesses across the city, particularly in the borough of the Bronx. We know a lot have been affected by the pandemic, the lack of PPP, getting that, but yet and still an opportunity to really get back on their feet and make things better.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've seen a lot of, obviously bad things happen, over the course of the last, call it 16 to 18 months. Really excited to help some of these small businesses. We've been helping them in a variety of different programs, but really excited to bring it to the state and help the multiple businesses within the state, as well as absolutely those within the Bronx.
Yeah. So walk us through a little bit about how the program works and how businesses can actually get connected.
Yeah, so I think the first way to think about it is there's three ways for businesses to get help. The first way is through partners, the various partners throughout the state and specifically, obviously, in the Bronx that can help in terms of getting through this. They can watch a video, which I'll give you some information on the website shortly, and then they can read about it. They can read one of the application guides. NY Small Business Recovery is where they want to start. So nysmallbusinessrecovery.com is where they want to start. It's going to give them all the information on the grant. It's going to give them the details on how to apply. It's going to give them the eligibility criteria. It'll give them those videos that they can watch. It'll also give them webinars if they might want to watch it maybe in a different language, or they might want to just hear someone else talk about it besides you and I.
A little bit more about eligibility. Certainly we don't want to tell, we can't give everything out right now, but tell us a little bit about who could potentially be eligible for these.
Sure, absolutely. So these are going to be small businesses. And the best way to think about it first is revenue. So in 2019, you can make any revenue. You can make, $10,000, you can make $1 million, you can make $10 million. 2020, the max you can make is 500,000 and the minimum is 25,000. Now, the key between 2019 and 2020, no matter what your revenue is, you have to show a 25% revenue loss. The thought process here is fairly simple, that they want to see that you actually took a loss or you had harm to the business as it relates to COVID. So if you made $1 million and then all of a sudden you make 1.5 million, then that thought process is that you did fairly well in COVID. And there are businesses like that. If you think about your logistics business, I don't know about you, Daren, but Amazon seems to come to my house 2-3 times a day. So that driver is doing okay, right? So that's not who we're looking for, right? We're looking for maybe the restaurant that closed or the business that wasn't able to stay open as a result of either mandates by the government or possibly just COVID in general.
Yeah. What has been the biggest challenge that you've heard from businesses during this time? Because certainly a lot has gone on. Some have actually had to close their doors. But what are some of the challenges that you've been hearing?
Yeah, I mean, the way Lendistry tries to function is we really try to think about how to best serve small businesses. As a leader myself, I tend to think COVID was the call to action. The situation with Floyd and others was kind of like, hey, rip up your call to action and try to 10x it. And so when Lendistry as a community development financial institution decided we were going to jump in, we said, well, how could we change the game? And one of the things we thought about, myself personally, as someone who's been in lending for 22 plus years, was, well, we need to become the deployers of capital, and we need to sit at the table when there's an opportunity to decide how the decisions are being made in terms of the deployment of capital. And so what you'll see here is one of the things that we picked up from some of our constituents and some of those small businesses that we asked. First is, this is not a first come, first serve program. So if you didn't apply on the first day or the second day or the third day or the 10th day, you still have an opportunity to apply. Second is be conscious and be intentional about who you're trying to get the money to. So you notice initially I talked about revenue loss, but there's also, we're looking at socially and economically disadvantaged individuals and their small business owners. And we're trying to concentrate on those individuals to try to help them get the need that they might want. The third thing is geographical distribution, right? and that goes two ways. You might be in a rural area where you haven't received money. You might be in the Bronx where, there's a lot of people and maybe in a lot of small businesses, and maybe that geographical distribution needs to be looked at a different way. And so one of the ways we're looking at it differently is we're saying geographical distribution plus let's see what you also received. So let me give you an example of that. If you're a restaurant, you were lucky enough to get the restaurant revitalization program, you basically got all of your losses covered between 19 and 20. So while yes, you were a victim of COVID, you've now got 100% back. You are not the same as the business owner who wasn't able to receive the restaurant revitalization program. And so we're looking at that as well in terms of looking at not only geographical distribution, but capital distribution now. And so that's another element that we've added into this one. Again, we think that's going to help the small business owners who've not received help or have received less help than others, because now we want to have equitable distribution of funds that are being administered by the state.
How has it been in terms of getting the word out? Because many
Yeah.
times you hear from people access the resources, right? I didn't know this was out there. I didn't know, or it's already gone, and now we find out. What's it been like for you in terms of reaching across the masses?
Yeah, well, so first of all, thank you again for the opportunity to be here. And I think when you think about getting the word out, it's a couple of different things. Look back in the day, it was kind of simple, especially when you wanted to hit the African American community. You go to the church, you go to like your fraternities and sororities, and you go to maybe a book club or something, right? Right now, you can't do it exactly that way. So we're doing that plus, and the plus is leveraging partners across the state, as I mentioned. And so trying to get those partners who are on the grassroots, having a technological aspect to this. So we have a QR code that someone can literally take a picture with their phone and they can get access to the application right away. We'll share that with you if you don't have it. And then, the other side of this is trying to use traditional media, right? So that's newspapers, that's the media, obviously, that we're doing today. That's anything you can think of in media. We're trying to get that word out. And that's from the state level as well as the local level. And so we're hoping that we get to the majority of people. One thing that we had to worry about when we first went through these programs, this is our 13th program, just so you know, but one of the things we had to worry about in the beginning was kind of like the paperwork and different things like that. And I'm not saying we don't have to worry about that here, but we do have the benefit of, generally speaking, most businesses have either gotten their paperwork together or tried to get their paperwork together. So we still have that element, but this is going to be more of a just get the word out that we're really, really conscious of. And we're using everything from, the Twitter, the social media to, again, the traditional sources, right? So everything we possibly can to get the word out. There'll still, unfortunately, be those that didn't hear about it. So hopefully we can spread the word. We're actually going to do some of the grassroots marketing in terms of the door to door with various vendors. That's coming up here soon as well.
Yeah. Sometimes with businesses, we know, and particularly small businesses, we hear the challenge that getting that paperwork in order can really be a huge barrier to overcome. Are there any resources in place to help somebody in that area be able to get their paperwork in order so they can successfully apply?
Absolutely. So there's roughly 60 partners that are on the ground. You can come into their office, obviously, amid COVID restrictions, so wear your mask, and, they might want to do an appointment instead of you just walking in. But there are roughly 60 partners that can help. What comes top of mind, of course, is the New York SBDC, NYS, SBS. So there are various different sources that are out there that can help in terms of getting the paperwork together. They can also call into the various partners who are willing to help them. Again, the webinars are going to help. They're going to give the details of what information needs to be provided. If you go to the application guide on NY Small Business Recovery, it actually gives samples of some of the documents. It walks you through the application line by line. If you go online and you hit apply now, there are 1 to 5 minute videos in every single section. So you can either listen to the person narrating through the sections, or you can watch someone go through the sections. And so we think all of these things are going to help that small business owner and not make it as daunting. Even uploading documents, there's a video on that to help in terms of how to upload documents and different things like that. Again, these are different things that we've learned through the progress of doing multiple different applications. And this is the feedback we actually got from small business owners saying, look, I need you to make it like I was in second grade or third grade for me. Not necessarily because I don't understand it. I'm just so used to making my widgets that this is a foreign process for me. And so I need as much help as I possibly can get. I should also say that if you call into the call center, there's language services. So you can set an appointment to have something in language if you wanted to, depending on what that is, application, document upload, or other things related to the program.
Well, everyone, thank you. A lot of information, helpful information. We're going to make sure, and we have made sure that this word has gotten out. We will continue to do our best to get the word out. Everett Sands, also the CEO of
Mhm.
Lendistry. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
All right, Everett Sands, CEO of Lendistry. Listen, now, if you want more information about this, please visit the website lendistry.com. Again, lendistry.com. Now, we need to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. Open continues coming up right after this.